And joining us here to talk about all of it is Pete Buttigieg. He serves as the Secretary of Transportation, but you're here in your capacity as a Democrat, so we're going to call you Mayor Pete tonight.
Very good, thank you.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you, and nice to have you here. What are you expecting to hear from former President Obama tonight?
Well, I think he's going to be powerful in helping to make that case for Kamala Harris in a style that is unique to him, but something that I think will remind us of why it felt good to be involved in politics and to be Democrats during the Obama campaign and the Obama presidency. Look, I'm a policy guy. I care a lot about policy details, but there is a lot to be said to the vibe being different, too. The fact that there's just an energy right now of hope, of optimism, of growth that is distinct, but certainly reminds us in certain ways of the energy that arose around the Obama campaign and could not be more different from the darkness and I would argue backward-looking style as well as substance of the Trump-Vance campaign in today's Republican Party.
Has there been enough focus on policy? Our own CBS News poll over the weekend showed a third of voters are not sure what Kamala Harris stands for.
I think that the more we communicate about policy, the better for us. The fact that the biggest scandal, the most debilitating scandal that the Republican Party has experienced so far this year is Project 2025, which is nothing but a write-up of the Republican policy agenda, tells you how profoundly unpopular their issues are. Now, I don't expect everybody to go reading through that 900-page document, and we also don't expect people to just automatically understand the Harris-Walz policy. She's going to be out there communicating that. This convention's a great chance to do that, and the whole balance of this campaign. I think she'll remind Americans about why it would be better for everyday life not to go with Trump tax cuts for the rich, but her approach to give the middle class a break, not to go back to policies like the destruction of the right to choose that Donald Trump brought upon this country, but actually supporting women's reproductive freedom on issue after issue after issue. The good news is most Americans already agree with us, but she will be the first to acknowledge that just because folks agree with you doesn't mean you win unless you do the work.
Donald Trump was in Michigan today. I know you know that state well. And he was talking about the issue of crime. And he said, I don't understand why suburban women aren't for me. I just want to play for you what he said today about crime and get your reaction on the other side. Let's listen.
You can't walk across the street to get a loaf of bread. You get shot, you get mugged, you get raped, you get whatever it may be. And you've seen it, and I've seen it, and it's time for a change.
He said you walk across the street and you get mugged, you get raped, you get shot. What is crime rising across America? What is the Democratic Party doing when it comes to crime?
Well, first of all, I don't think Donald Trump has a concept of what it is like to purchase groceries. Otherwise, he wouldn't describe walking across the street to get a loaf of bread in the terms that he did. I don't know the last time he walked across the street or bought a loaf of bread, but that's something I have done from time to time in Michigan. And one thing that's profoundly ironic is for him to say that in Michigan when crime in Michigan went down after he got beat and when Biden-Harris administration came in. So the question I would ask Michiganders is, why would you want to go back to the higher crime rates that they experienced under Donald Trump?
The other issue, since I know you're a policy guy, so that's where we're talking policy, Donald Trump just did an interview yesterday with our own Caitlin Huey-Burns, where she asked him again about appointing 3 Supreme Court justices that moved to overturn Roe versus Wade. He said no regrets. We understand tonight that Vice President Kamala Harris in her remarks in Wisconsin will reference his remarks again that the president says he has no regrets about overturning the ability for women and their reproductive rights.
Yeah, Donald Trump, at the end of the day, is proud of the fact that he demolished the right to choose in this country. It's one of, as far as I can tell, only 2 major campaign promises that he actually kept. He didn't keep most of his promises. He didn't keep his promise about the infrastructure bill, said he'd do it, failed to do it. He didn't keep his promises about economic growth. He breaks most of his promises. So the ones he keeps are the ones that tell you who he is and what he's about. And he kept 2. Demolishing the right to choose and cutting taxes for the rich. And I think that's a pretty good preview of what to expect if he were to return to power.
Who was it who said last night Donald Trump promised an infrastructure week and we're going to give you an infrastructure decade?
Yeah, President Biden talked about that, and it's true. Look, I'll admit, back when I was mayor, this is one of the few issues I have to admit that I was actually fooled by Donald Trump on. I thought he would do an infrastructure bill. It was good politics. Democrats and Republicans wanted it. Why wouldn't you do it? And yet even that the vast majority of Americans supported and that he had specifically said he would do, he failed.
Well, Mayor Pete, as I'm calling you, former mayor, thank you so much for being here. I know you're serving in a cabinet position in Washington now, but here in a different capacity. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. Great speaking with you.